Herzlich willkommen. Ich begrüße Sie zum heutigen Topsoft-Webinar mit dem Titel AI Agents, Marktentwicklung und technische Migration von SaaS-Anwendungen zu agentenbasierten Systemen. Mein Name ist Alex Zanolari. Ich bin Redaktor bei Topsoft, der Schweizer Plattform für digitales Business und heute Moderator dieses Webinars. Das Webinar gibt einen Überblick über die Marktentwicklung und bietet konkrete Hinweise und Best Practices für die technische Migration von SaaS-Anwendungen hin zu agentenbasierten Applikationen. Unsere Referenten heute sind Jürgen Müller. Er ist Berater, Startup-Gründer und ehemaliger Unternehmensleiter. Derzeit ist er unter anderem Partner bei Go Europe Consulting. Jürgen gibt uns einen Einblick in die Marktentwicklung der entstehenden Agentic Economy und was das für Softwarehäuser und Kunden bedeutet. Dann begrüßen wir Merlin Yamsi. Er ist Lead Solutions Consultant bei Google Cloud in Mountain View und ein anerkannter Experte für KI und digitale Transformation. Er erklärt uns, was KI-Agenten überhaupt sind und wo die Reise mit ihnen technisch hingeht. Auch freuen wir uns auf Bharati Raja, Vizepräsident of Sales beim KI- und Cloud-Spezialisten Relanto AI. Er zeigt uns konkrete Implementierungen und Real-World-Use-Cases für KI-Agenten. Ich bedanke mich schon jetzt für das Interesse und wünsche Ihnen viel frisches Know-how mit dem heutigen Webinar. Gerne übergebe ich nun an Jürgen Müller.
Ja, hallo an alle, hier ist Jürgen. Danke für die Einführung, Alain. Und ich werde jetzt mal aus ökonomischer Sicht das Thema KI-Agenten, AI Agents beleuchten. Und meine beiden Kollegen werden sich dann der technischen Aspekte annehmen. Dann würde ich um den nächsten Klick bitten. Ja, auf dem Weg zur Agentic Economy. Was heißt das eigentlich? Agentic Economy heißt nach meiner Definition, dass die Wertschöpfung in Zukunft wesentlich durch KI und KI-Agenten getrieben wird. Also das, was wir heute noch sozusagen ohne die KI und ohne die Agenten machen, wird in Zukunft über die KI laufen. Und das ist der Begriff der Agentic Economy. Nächster Klick bitte, Alain. Ja, schauen wir erstmal aus der Vogelperspektive auf den Markt, was wir hier auf diesem Slide sehen. Also die durchschnittliche jährliche Wachstumsrate ist hier dargestellt. Ich habe die Quellen auf den Slides jeweils angegeben, sodass ich darüber nicht nochmal reden muss. Wir haben hier stolze 45% fast. Es gibt Marktforscher, die sagen, es ist sogar noch mehr. Das heißt, wir haben es hier mit einer beeindruckenden Marktdynamik zu tun, die durch hohe Investitionen, durch Private Equity, aber auch durch die Hersteller getrieben wird. Wenn man da mal einen Doppelklick auf das Slide machen könnte, dann würden sich verschiedene Fenster auftun und man könnte sehen, dass der größte Teil der Investitionen in 2024, und das war auch vorher so, in den USA stattfindet. Ich rede jetzt über private Investitionen. Das waren 109 Milliarden Dollar. Das ist das 12-fache von dem, was aus dem Privatsektor in China in die KI geflossen ist, das 24-fache, um die Zahlen mal so ein bisschen in Perspektive zu setzen, von dem, was in UK passiert ist. Und im Hinblick auf die EU, und ich komme gleich auf die Schweiz zu sprechen, war die EU hat ein Achtel von dieser Summe zu den Investitionen insgesamt beigetragen. Man muss sich also nicht wundern, wenn natürlich ein großer Teil der Profite und der Benefits und der Marktdurchdringung dann nach USA gehen. Und bitte die nächste Folie, Alain. Ja, etwas anders sieht das aus bei der Adoption von KI-Technologie im Business. Was man hier sieht, ist das Bild für die EU. Innerhalb der EU sehen wir erhebliche Unterschiede nach großen Unternehmen, das sind die roten Balken, nach mittleren Unternehmen, das sind die gelben, und nach kleinen Unternehmen. Das Bild ändert sich etwas, wenn man mal sektoral auf das Thema Marketing und Sales spricht. Da haben wir eine extrem hohe Adoptionsrate insgesamt und die Großen laufen gar nicht so weit voraus wie in den anderen Sektoren, wie etwa der Produktion oder der ICT, Security, die hier herausstechen. Das hat meines Erachtens ein paar Gründe, sowohl strukturelle wie auch finanzielle. Zum einen ist natürlich die Einführung von KI mit Geld verbunden, was sich große Unternehmen eher leisten können. Aber zum anderen gibt es im Bereich Marketing und Vertrieb natürlich auch eine bessere Verfügbarkeit von Daten, auf die man zugreifen kann. Ja, und damit einhergehend auch äh, Applikationen, die man sozusagen von der Stange kaufen kann. Also ich denke da an Salesforce, an Microsoft Dynamics, an HubSpot. Und das macht die Implementierung von KI-Lösungen natürlich viel leichter, als wenn ich das jetzt customizen müsste, zum Beispiel in einer Produktionsumgebung. Gartner sagt übrigens voraus, dass bis 2029 circa 80% aller Kundenanfragen, die auf ein Unternehmen zukommen, autonom von der KI bedient werden können. Das hat natürlich einen riesen Einfluss auch auf die Wertschöpfungskette und auch die Art und Weise, wie man mit Kunden interagiert. Alain, bitte die nächste Folie. Das ist jetzt ein Blick auf die Schweiz. Wir hatten ja eben gesehen, wie die Adoptionsrate nach Sektoren innerhalb der EU ist. Und wir sind also auf einen Durchschnittswert gekommen bei großen Unternehmen von 47%, bei kleinen noch mal weniger. Wenn wir jetzt auf die Schweizer Zahlen gucken, die mir zur Verfügung standen, dann spielt die Schweiz in der Adoption von KI im Unternehmen schon in der Champions League. Sie sind vor Europa und sie sind mit 42% übrigens in der Schweiz, sie sind vor Europa und sie sind auch vor dem globalen Durchschnitt. So wie eben auch bei der Folie vorher, sagt das natürlich nichts über die Bedeutung der Adoption im Unternehmen. Das heißt, in welchen Bereichen habe ich bereits mit KI zu tun? Welche Rolle spielt das für meine Wertschöpfung und Ähnliches? Das ist jetzt einfach nur, ich sage mal, die blanken Zahlen, die die Statistik für uns hergibt. Wenn man dann mal in die Schweiz reinzoomt und dann dazu bitte die nächste Folie, dann wird man auch leicht feststellen, dass es branchenspezifische Unterschiede gibt. Also die Finanzdienstleister, die auch global unterwegs sind, haben schon 50%, für den nutzen KI, 25% planen das. Das heißt, wir haben hier schon eine sehr hohe Adoptionsrate. Das sind Zahlen aus dem Januar 2025. Wenn ich dann auf Fertigung und Supply Chain gucke, dann liegen wir deutlich unter den 50%. Und es geht sogar noch weiter. Nur 25% von den Unternehmen, die da befragt worden sind, verfügen über eine regelrechte KI-Strategie. Das heißt, wo gehen wir damit perspektivisch hin? Welche Rolle soll die KI in unserer gesamten Unternehmensstrategie spielen? Die KMU stechen heraus mit 55%, die schon Artificial Intelligence in ihre Arbeitsprozesse integriert haben. Und bei dem letzten Punkt, das sieht so aus, als hätten die Schuster die schlechtesten Sohlen, weil die Softwarefirmen hinken etwas hinterher mit der Adoption. Das sind allerdings auch Zahlen vom Oktober 2024. Da mag sich mittlerweile was getan haben. Ja, kann man den nächsten Slide dann sehen? Was ich ganz interessant finde, ist die KI geht den Weg alles Irdischen, nämlich dessen, was wir auch sonst in der Historie unserer Branche sehen. Der Preis einer Lösung treibt natürlich die Kommerzialisierung und damit auch die Akzeptanz beim Kunden. Und das ist bei der KI nicht anders. Ja? Wenn man mal annimmt, dass der Big Bang im November 2022 mit OpenAI stattgefunden hat, dann kann man bis heute, also bis Oktober, dann kann man bis Oktober 2024 feststellen, dass der Kosten für die Inference, das heißt die Kosten, die verursacht werden, wenn ich einen Prompt eingebe, das ans Rechenzentrum schicke und das Ergebnis zurückkriege, das ist das, was mit Inference Cost gemeint ist, sich um den Faktor 280 verringert hat. Der Report, aus dem ich das habe, kommt von der Stanford University. Ich habe ihn hier zitiert. Den kann ich nur jedem ans Herz nehmen, der das Big Picture der KI, des KI-Marktes momentan verstehen will. Ja, dann können wir zur nächsten Folie kommen, bitte. Ich möchte damit so meinen Kurzüberblick über den Markt, für den ich jetzt 15 Minuten insgesamt habe, diesen Teil möchte ich jetzt abschließen und komme dann zu den Konsequenzen für SaaS-Anbieter, was ja auch mit ein wesentlicher Punkt unserer heutigen Session ist. Ich habe hier mal ein Quote, Zitat vom Microsoft CEO aufgelegt, und der sagt, dass die SaaS-Applications, die werden einfach kollabieren. Ja, und das ist eigentlich sowieso nur CRUD, Create, Read, Update und Delete mit einer Datenbank dahinter und ein bisschen Businesslogik. Das alles soll nach Nadella verschwinden. Das ist eine ziemlich radikale Aussage. Ich glaube eher, dass wir da durch eine Anpassungsphase gehen werden. Aber die wird bei der raschen Marktakzeptanz, die wir sehen, und dem Preisverfall, den wir sehen, nicht allzu lang sein. Also ich glaube 3 bis 5 Jahre und dann sind wir am Ende dieser Phase. Das heißt, für Softwarehersteller bedeutet das schon, dass sie jetzt schon proaktiv auf ihre Kunden zugehen müssen und nicht warten, bis der Kunde anruft. Wer dabei Hilfe braucht, dem stehen Unternehmen wie Relanto zur Verfügung, die sich eben auf solche SaaS-Migrationsthemen und die Integration von KI spezialisiert haben. Dann nächste Folie bitte. Ich habe hier einfach mal eine Tabelle aufgemalt. Das ist so ein bisschen Vogelperspektive, das ist mir klar, aber ich habe mal wichtige Merkmale der Agenten aufgeschrieben und die verglichen mit traditioneller SaaS und anderer Software. Das ist auch ein bisschen schwarz und weiß, das weiß ich, aber man sieht doch sehr stark, dass KI-Agenten wesentliche Vorteile, wie zum Beispiel im Hinblick auf Agilität, wie zum Beispiel im Hinblick auf Kosten für Change Requests oder für Wartung, für die User-Friendliness etc. angeben. Ich werde die einzelnen Punkte hier nicht alle vorlesen, aber es zeigt Ihnen einfach, dass wir es hier mit erheblichen Vorteilen zu tun haben, was dann auch die Marktakzeptanz erklärt. Dann bitte die nächste Folie. All diese Dinge werden natürlich eine starke Bedeutung für die Benutzerrolle haben. Und die wird sich verändern. Wenn wir heute ein Benutzer sind in einem SaaS-System, in einem Unternehmen, dann liegt eigentlich der Schwerpunkt dessen, was wir tun, auf der Frage, wie wird es gemacht? Das heißt, wie kriege ich Ergebnisse aus dieser Anwendung raus, wie kann ich damit umgehen? In der Agentic Economy wird sich das ändern. Da wird der Kern der Frage wird nicht sein, wie bediene ich diese Software, sondern was will ich damit erreichen? Das heißt, der Agent wird dann im Auftrag des Nutzers Operationen durchführen und diese ihm wieder zurückspiegeln. Ich gebe mal ein Beispiel. Ich könnte jetzt an einem ERP-System sitzen und sagen, also Sprache, Agent, gib mir eine Cashflow-Voraussage für das 4. Quartal und berücksichtige dabei die letzten 2 Fiskaljahre. Und das hätte ich gerne als PDF. Und dann wird er das machen. Das ist was ganz anderes, als sich durch Masken zu manövrieren, um zu so einem Ergebnis zu kommen. Dann bitte die nächste Folie. Mit der Veränderung der Wertschöpfungskette, mit der Benutzerrolle geht natürlich auch eine Veränderung der Wertschöpfungskette anheim. Die Agenten produzieren, wie wir eben schon gehört haben, einen erheblichen zusätzlichen Mehrwert, aber sie sind auch in der Lage, selbstständig kontinuierlich zu lernen. Die Geschäftsprozesse werden sich dadurch ändern, manche traditionellen SaaS-Funktionen werden wegfallen und natürlich muss auch das Design der Software angepasst werden. All das wird kommen und wenn wir Relevanz für einen Kunden behalten wollen, ich rede nicht nur über den Markt, sondern auch über die Relevanz für einzelne Kunden, dann werden wir die Produkte entsprechend ausstatten müssen. Ja, ich denke, wir können dann zur nächsten Folie, Ala. Was sind die wesentlichen Chancen für Softwarehersteller, aber in einem gewissen Maße auch für Unternehmen, die Software für sich selbst stricken? Es ist einmal eine Personalisierung, eine erhebliche Personalisierung möglich. Ich gebe gleich noch ein Beispiel dafür. Automatisierung, Antizipierung von individuellen Benutzererfordernissen. Man wird einfach durch so ein agentisches System von einem Lieferanten einer Anwendung zu einem strategischen Partner. Also der Tool-Provider wird zum strategischen Partner durch die Agenten. Was interessant ist im Unternehmen natürlich sind, dass wir viele heterogene Datenquellen anzapfen können und somit auch ein Cross-Workflow über verschiedene Abteilungen stattfinden kann, sozusagen ein Hub. Man kann sich damit bei dem Kunden natürlich auch wichtiger und schwerer ersetzbar machen. Es gibt die Möglichkeit, zusätzliche Umsätze aus Dienstleistungen zu generieren. Auch das ist meines Erachtens ein Punkt, wo man sich unersetzbarer machen kann. Und man kann glänzen mit tiefem Branchenverständnis. Warum das wichtig ist, da komme ich dann gleich zu. Jo, würde ich mal um die nächste Folie bitten. Wie alles in der schönen neuen Welt kommen natürlich diese Chancen auch mit Risiken. Softwarehersteller werden in manchen Bereichen Konkurrenz kriegen von den Großen, von den Microsofts und den Googles dieser Welt, die diese, nennen wir mal General Purpose KI zur Verfügung stellen und die für manchen Kunden, auch wenn er in einem vertikalen Segment operiert, gut genug sein könnten. Und das würde dann für den SaaS-Anbieter auch mit einem gewissen Verlust der Kundenbindung anheimgehen, weil sich diese Produkte dann sozusagen zwischen den Anwender und das SaaS-System schieben. Technisch ist das Ganze, und da wird der Merlin gleich noch drüber reden, nicht ganz unkomplex. Es erfordert Fähigkeiten der Entwickler, die aktuell noch rar und teuer sind. Und ein Punkt, den ich noch ansprechen möchte, ist natürlich, dass man mit diesen neuen Geschäftsprozessen und mit diesen neuen Modellen auch die Preismodelle, die man heute hat, die Preisgestaltung überdenken muss. Manches davon ist noch unerforscht, aber man kann ja leicht verstehen, dass mehr Nutzer auf einem SaaS-System nicht unbedingt Mehrwert bieten, wenn das Ganze in einem agentischen Umfeld stattfindet und man eben solche Fragen stellen kann, wie ich sie eben formuliert habe, mit dem Cashflow. Das heißt, es muss irgendeine Form von, wenn ich jetzt von Bedienen der Software zum Ergebnisorientierten hingehe, muss es irgendeine Form von ergebnisorientierten Preismodellen geben. Dann reden wir eben über Value as a Service und nicht mehr so sehr über Software as a Service. Ja, dann bitte den nächsten Slide. Ja, Veränderungen sind immer Chancen. Nicht? Wir haben also auf der einen Seite gesehen, wie der Markt sich verändert, aus der Vogelperspektive und in einem relativ schnellen Überflug. Aber wir haben auch gesehen, welche Risiken damit verbunden sind. Aber das hatten wir, wenn man die Geschichte unserer Branche anguckt, seit dem Zweiten Weltkrieg auch immer. Ja? Es gab die alten Röhrencomputer, dann kamen die Mainframes mit den Transistoren dazu, dann gab es die PCs und so weiter. Und immer gab es mit diesen neuen Entwicklungsstufen auch sowas wie einen Paradigmenwechsel. Wenn man sich anpasst, auch das ist eine Lehre und schnell genug damit ist das aber ein Vorteil für diejenigen, die schon auf der nächsten Stufe stehen, wenn der Markt da gerade ankommt. Ja, dann bitte die letzte Folie. Wer Fragen hat zu dem Thema, soweit das die ökonomischen Dimensionen, die ich jetzt hier wirklich nur anreißen konnte, der kann mich gerne anschreiben. Meine E-Mail-Adresse ist jürgen@goeuropeconsulting.com und dann kommen wir sicher in Kontakt. möchte jetzt weitergeben an Merlin, der das Thema Agenten einmal aus der Perspektive, was ist ein Agent, und dann auch aus einer Architekturperspektive beleuchten wird. Ja, Merlin, dann gebe ich jetzt weiter an dich. Merlin, it's all up to you. The stage is yours, and I'm switching my camera off.
Thank you, Dr. Jürgen. So I will be taking you through some agentic AI agent technical deep dive. So what is an agent and what is around an agent? So next slide, please. So my name is Merlin Yamsi. Yeah, I'm a lead solution consultant at Google Cloud in the Silicon Valley. Next slide. So today, what I want to talk about is what we are coming from, right? The agentic era, and then what really makes an agent. Because everyone talks about agent, but we need to know what really makes an agent. What is the agent ecosystem? So what are we using around agents to make the new software? And then how do you take those agents into production? Because a lot of agents are currently being built and we don't take them into production. So now part number one, next slide, is about the new era. So we are currently entering a whole new era of innovation and adoption. So there are three key trends that are driving this transformation. Number one is multimodality and thinking models. So this is where AI is breaking free from the limitation of text, right? We can interact with AI using images, videos, audio, or making interactions richer and more intuitive. Right? That's number one. Number two is the agentic workflow. So AI is becoming more autonomous and capable. So we're seeing the rise of AI agents that can reason, plan, adapt, are also transforming how we work and how we collaborate. This is where we will focus more today. Number three, the third trend is more about the knowledge frontier, because AI is currently redefining how we access and interact with information, right? It's breaking the knowledge silos, right? By providing, empowering us with a lot of insight and like we never had before. So this is truly an exciting time to be working with AI. And today I will be exploring more on the agentic trends with you. So next slide. The AI agent evolution, the AI agent have come from an evolution of technology. You remember probably 2-3 years ago when ChatGPT was launched. It was 2022, right? We started with basic LLM prompt, and then we moved to what we call RAG, retrieval augmented generation, for like knowledge grounding. Then we start incorporating tools for action to be able to act, right? Now, the best results for real-world tasks are coming from the multi-agent system, which also include specialized agents. And all these need to collaborate together to get the job done, right? So collaboration between agents. One of the new trends now that we're seeing is that we can even interact between remote agents, which means agents that has been built by any other framework. They are available, and then there is a way to connect all these agents together and work together as a multi-agent system and remote agent. So that is the biggest trend right now. So next slide. So today, we're not just talking about AI that can assist. You know, we talk about assistant, but AI that can truly act. So with AI agent, sophisticated system that can perform like the complex task, right? And with minimum human interactions. So from chatbot to getting the work done, we have few actions that need to happen. So the autonomous action. So this agent will demonstrate autonomy, independently executing tasks and workflow, so that people don't have to do that. The reasoning and the planning is to leverage that to advance the model and to make informed decision, right? Because usually some of the model without reasoning and planning, you just ask something, you will just go and get it, right? You will just predict it, right? Just easy. But when you have the reasoning and the planning, so you get informed decision, and you can adapt to changing environment, like a human expert, because human experts typically have to think, plan before doing something, right? So that's the key for reasoning with agentic systems. The continuous learning. So they engage in continuous learning by refining their strategy and improving their performance. Like you would have something that, to become more and more effective with each interaction, you need to, continuously learn so that you can refine your strategy, and then you can improve your performance. And then lastly, the multi-agent collaboration, to become collaborative, right? To be able, like a team of experts. So you can work together, you can achieve a complex goal together, you can unlock a lot of other capabilities because you have a different expert, you can ask questions, and then we will select the right expert. The right expert will send an answer that you can then use another expert to enhance, etc. So multi-agent collaboration is also becoming a huge trend for the new software. So next slide. So we're talking about agent. So what is really an agent? Okay. So next slide, we will try to explain that. What makes an agent? There are key components working together to make an agent. At the heart of the agent are what we call generative AI models, right? Like Gemini, OpenAI, or Claude, Anthropic, you name it, right? Providing the reasoning power. So that's the heart. So that's why when we talk about agent, there is at the heart the generative AI model. Okay. Now, the agent will be using tools, right, to be able to interact with the real world and get information and perform action, right? You see tools here, it could be functions, API, database, or it could be even other remote agent, if you're talking agent to agent, right? So agent will use tools. Then at the middle, you have an orchestration layer. So the orchestration layer manages the agent and the memory for short-term or long-term memory, right? So you have the orchestration, the piece that will know where to send the query. Should I use a tool? Should I just send that to the model? Should I store that into the memory? So that's the orchestrator. And then you also have an agent definition at the bottom, which is probably the place where you provide a lot of instructions, the goals, where you want to say to the agent what to do, because each agent needs to have a goal, right? And then you have instructions, right? And then you have the profile, right? Okay, and all this part is all this different pieces, the agent orchestrator and the agent definition is running in an agent runtime. That's where you execute and manage the entire life cycle of the agent, right? So you have the model, you have the tools, and then you have the orchestrator, right? So these are the main pieces of the agent, so that the user will come in, query the agent. There's something that happened, get a response, right? And the response could be also to call another agent, right? Or one of the action could be to call a tool, right? And everything is defined. The reasoning piece is defined by the generative AI. Is the reasoning part of it. So that's typically what we call an agent: reason, plan, execute task for user. Okay, next slide. So I will just take an analogy with microservices, because what we know until before the agent was microservices, right? So interacting with LLM directly is like writing source code and run it using command line interface. It will work, but it's not like an enterprise grade, right? So to make AI capability scalable, you need to wrap it to an agent. Just like we build the source code into base image and deploy it as a container and microservices. That's how we took the code from code to microservices. We are also doing the same thing from the LLM to the agent. So agent is the microservices, and the AI engine is the container platform to run it, right? So that's the kind of the analogy that you should think of, right? Microservices, the code, and then you have the container that you run in sometime where in the cloud. Same thing, you have an LLM, you wrap it, you create an agent, that's the microservices, and you run it in a container, which is an agent engine to do that. Okay, so that's kind of to visualize. Next slide. I give you like more picture that you can leverage here. You see on the left hand side the microservices aspect as an example, right? You have containerized business logic, integration with external tools. That's usually what happen in the business logic. You integrate with external tools or external database, Salesforce, SAP, all those things. And then you have the Kubernetes engine or Cloud Run, for example, with Google, where you have the runtime engine where you run your microservice. So similarly, for the agent, you have the agent development kit with the orchestration, which is kind of the business logic, and the tool use that we talk about, which is like integration to the Salesforce, the SAP of the world. And then you have the agent engine, which is kind of like the Kubernetes, like the container where all these things will be running. That's where you have the session, the memory, the identity, the logs, etc. Right? So pretty good analogy between microservices and agent. So that's how we can represent the new way of building software, moving from microservices into agent. Right? Okay, so next slide. So when to build an agent? Because usually when we talk about agent, LLM, Gen AI application, etc., agents are uniquely suited for workflows where the traditional deterministic and rule-based approach falls short, right? So they will excel typically in scenarios that was previously resistant to automation and involving complex decision making, like there is a nuance of judgment, right? You are trying to handle exceptions, context sensitive decision, right? So all these complex decision making process that you had before that was like requiring a lot of human interaction or something like that. That's where agent is very good to be built. And then you also have when you want to have system that it's difficult to maintain rules, right? Making updates very costly, right? Then you will also think about those use case to build agent that will do that for you. And agent also typically rely on unstructured data. So the scenario that involve interpreting like natural language, extracting meaning from the document, like conversational interactions, things like that, right? Where you have all these different use cases that agent will be suitable for, right? So because agent will not be always the way to go, but you need to focus on places where it makes more sense, right? For complex decision making, difficult rules to maintain, unstructured data, human, natural language processing, etc. Okay, next slide. So typically, when you start building agents, you'll be working with an ecosystem, right? When you start looking at the agentic system, there is a whole ecosystem around it. Okay, next slide. So we'll drill down into some of these ecosystems. So yeah, you can go more. Yes, good. Thank you. You have two main pieces for agents. AI businesses, so business users, people that will be using agents, right? So you will need for them a place to see agent, a gallery, and to use agent, right? So they are user of agent. But sometimes they also want like a agent designer, which is kind of no code, where you can build an agent, but WYSIWYG, very easy. You just create an agent by combining this and that, and then you create an agent. That's for business users. It could be for internal use, or it could be for customer engagement. So it could be like external, when you're looking to interact with external user of your company, and you want to build an agent for that. There are also some low-code systems that allow you to do that. That's on business user. Now, for developer, there is a whole ecosystem of tools that they should be used. First is the model that is optimized for the agentic planning, reasoning, and grounding, like let's say Gemini or others. So the model, and then you have the data, the enterprise data, you have the web data, you have a database, you have enterprise software for like SaaS, you have a ecosystem tooling, all the different tools and data that you can use, or enterprise system that you can use to connect, to get information to, or to act into, right? So the model, the tooling, and then you need in the middle a platform where you will be building. So the tool, you will be building development kit where you'll be building the agent. So defining and building the agent, and then running the agent, right, in production. So you need like a managed services like runtime that is used for agent in production, because you need to monitor, you need sessions, you need testing, etc., tracing, and then a place where you can discover agent, agent garden, where you can work with samples and tools to accelerate the development. So developer will have the model, the enterprise data, and then a platform for building those agents, running those agents, right? And that's where that will be kind of the ecosystem of agents. And next slide. So those agents are not sitting there and talking to themselves, right? So we are looking for agent interactions through two mechanisms, A to A, agent to agent, or MCP, which is Model Context Protocol, which is more agent to tools. Like you see on this picture, MCP connect agents. This is a new protocol. It's like MCP is like the USB, for tools. Like instead of connecting agent to one tools at a time, you can create an MCP server that allow you to have to kind of centralize and making the tools accessible through a more standard process. So any agent can use that MCP and just know how to connect to the tool, right? So kind of a single language in the middle. So the agent, for example, the agent A will connect to the local store or to another system through an MCP server that has been defined to connect to those tools. So any agent that know how to use MCP server, any agent will be able to use that, right? Using MCP protocol. This is defined and it's usable. Now, if agent want to talk to another agent, they use the A2A protocol, and they can dynamically see what that agent can do, which is the agent card with agent skills, what you can do, and then it can call that agent and ask him to do what it's supposed to do, right? With using the A2A protocol, secure connection, also standard connection, and this allow, for example, an agent that has been built by Google ADK to work with an agent that has been built by Crew AI or by LangGraph with two completely different development kits, but they don't need to know that, right? So they're just talking to each other through a protocol, and the agent are executing and exchanging information. So that's the way the agent will be able to collaborate in all these ecosystem of agents. So A2A and MCP are really the main protocols that are used for agent collaboration, agent to agent or agent to tools. Okay. So next slide. Now, once the agent is built, right, you need to bring that into production, and that is where a lot of projects are currently being stopped, because taking agent into production is a challenge. There are a lot of challenges. So if you go to the next slide, so building an agent, let's look at some consideration, right? When you build a Gen AI agent, so you have the model. You're flexible. You can use any type of model, Google or others. You have the context and the memory. You have integration to a tools, which could be database, APIs, you name it, right? You have a grounding, which means you can ground that to the data that you want your AI to talk to. You need to do LLM ops and observe during the execution, right? You need a way to debug, right? And that all will then related to a path to go to production. So when you have built all those things, observability also included debugging, then you need a path to production, right? So what usually happens, next slide, what usually happens is you are defining with agent, you have a complex architecture, because you see all these things talking to each other, tools and all the different things. So you have a complex architecture, right? You have to maintain all those things. You have if there is a performance issue somewhere, it's a blind spot. You don't know exactly where it is, right? You may put something in production and then there is an issue. You don't know what is happening. maybe the behavior are not consistent. That's why a lot of development are stuck into the development loop, because going live means a lot of challenge, right? So next slide. So I define some of these challenges here, like complex AI task, no observability, so you don't know what is happening. So the expert that is building may not be the expert that is moving that into production. So there are a knowledge gap there. It could be also security, safety, because you don't want the data to go out, but you need some confidentiality. How do you do that, etc. So some of the things that we have here are currently being solved. So if you go to the next slide, you will see that some of those challenges are solved through what we call the enterprise agentic foundation, right? So you would have a platform, right, that allow you to manage when you want to move from let's say from the POC or pilot to production. You have to manage all these things. You will need a platform. So the agentic platform and the framework, right? So the framework is the green one that we see here, that we discussed earlier, where you develop, you build, you create the interface, you do a lot of things. The LLM is here because this is something that you use, right? You use because it's built by providers, open source or third party. But you also have all these other boxes here for network security, for authentication, for filtering, security and safety filters, tracing, logging, monitoring, evaluation, user feedback, prompt optimization, fine-tuning. So all these different things or boxes should be part of what we call the enterprise agentic foundation that will allow you to move one agent that you built as a standalone or as a developer to a production ready that maybe 10 or 100 or 1,000 of people will be using day to day, right? And you need to make sure that it's running and it's scaling and without any issues. So those platform, enterprise platform, have been built to cover those challenges, right? And to use the enterprise capabilities that have been used for software as a service or microservices, that the approach that we used before. The same thing happen for agents. So you need to have those things in parallel into your head, because most of those challenges happen for agents, and you need to have all these boxes to be able to run. So, but now is a lot of company like Relanto, for example, has been building real use case, has been putting together solutions that they've been providing to real customers. So from this definition of agent to moving into production, now we will transfer to all how these agents are currently being used in production by real customers, which use cases are being used. So this is where I think I will pass to Mr. Bharati Raja to go through some of this. Mr. Bharati, you will have the stick here. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Merlin. Good afternoon and good evening, folks. I am joining from California too. I am Merlin's neighbor. Good morning to you, Merlin. And we are partners with Google. We are a consulting and advisory firm. What I'm going to cover today is from a consulting perspective, from services perspective. What Merlin talked about is from product perspective. I'm going to cover the use cases that we work on from purely from a consulting company's perspective, and how the agentic AI frameworks that we create or the agents that we create are going to impact SaaS industry and SaaS products. Next slide, please. Yeah, so this is the agenda I have. We have another 20 minutes or so. I will leave some time for questions as well. Then I'll quickly cover what I have to cover today. Next one, please. Next one. Yeah. Next one. Yeah. Yes. So we are a consulting company, advisory and consulting company, working with mostly Fortune 500 companies, 40 plus Fortune 500 companies. We are partners with Google. We figured out agentic AI more than a year ago when people were still struggling to understand what Gen AI was, what LLM was. Thanks to our partnership with companies like Google, they pushed our boundaries. We pushed our boundaries ourselves, and then put our first agent in production in 2024, much before the world woke up. And we generally solve specific problems for our customers. We build custom agents. It's not like we build an agent and sell it to 100 customers, 1,000 customers. We get into a customer environment, understand their challenge, and address those challenges with agentic AI solutions. And we are a US based company present across regions, US, Canada, India, Mexico, Poland. Soon we will have an office very close to where you live, somewhere in Switzerland or Germany. And we are 1,000 people company. We have an AI first lab in India. If you are visiting India, I would love to host you at our lab, show you what cool things we do at our lab. And then we have IPs and solutions that we build for our customers. There are multiple agents which I'm going to talk you through today in detail in the next couple of slides. Next slide, please. Yeah, so like I said, we have an AI first lab. That is where all the cool AI innovation happens. We invite our customers, partners, academicians, researchers, students. We invite all kinds of people there. We do a lot of brainstorming there, starting from ROI calculation to identifying the best use case, because the use case you identify, the first use case that you identify is the most critical step in your AI journey. If you fail in the first use case, the entire organization is going to believe that AI is a failure, right? AI is useless, AI is bad. If you succeed in the first use case, that gives so much confidence to your people, then everyone is charged up, everyone is involved, right? So all that, starting from brainstorming to implementation of whatever use case we identify, happens out of this lab. So we have 3 IPs that you see at the bottom. Smart Assist is something I will talk about in detail today. Today I have about 7 use cases, specific use cases that we have done for our customers. Then our Smart Assist is something like a test automation framework, but more generative AI and AI ML based solution. Our ActX is a framework that we have built on Salesforce. Like we have solutions on top of ERPs, CRMs, all SaaS solutions, right? Each company like us is working on different use cases on different platforms. I will talk about the industry view and then also get into specifically what we are doing. So you get an idea of what kind of agents we build and what agentic AI, what problem agentic AI can solve, right? You will understand the length and breadth of what is possible and not possible. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, so here we will get into real world use cases. I'm sure you would have heard about this, you would have read about it in your news magazines, and you would have heard about it in your news stories. So some of these are being talked about by everyone, right? Every industry is pushing its boundaries. For example, healthcare, their mission, vision is to have a disease-free world, right? AI is expediting that, accelerating that. It is possible, is the impression we are getting right now, because it predicts diseases faster. What used to take months together or years together, or what we used to find after something happens, is being found proactively now, right? It is found within minutes, it is found within hours today. And there is a lot of drug discovery that is happening with the help of AI now, which is faster. If it took years earlier to develop a drug, or something like when COVID hit, right? We came out with something within 1.5 years, and today we are able to walk around. That will become months and maybe days in the near future. That is what AI is facilitating. Likewise in finance, likewise in retail, every industry, transportation, we have a very exciting use case there, right? Google has Waymo. If you visit San Francisco, you can see there are thousands of cars, autonomous cars driving around, right? Empty cars driving around, you would be able to see. So that is what is happening in each industry. So this is across industries. In our industry, in technology industry, in software industry, there is a lot of development, AI enabled development. There is vibe coding, right? One of my founder friends that I met recently is saying he is able to do things 5x faster compared to what he was doing pre AI. What he would have taken to develop a year, he is able to do it within a month or two now because of AI enabled coding, right? AI enabled testing. There is synthetic data development. So every industry has something or the other. This is industry use cases. On the next slide, please. So I am covering specifically within our industry what we are doing, right? So development is AI enabled now, starting from code generation to code refactoring to debugging, everything. There is AI today. There is an AI agent to do this today. Likewise, for testing, I talked about our R Smart Test, which is test automation framework. There are many test automation frameworks today. You just give your requirements, the tool generates your test cases, test plan, test report. It also does the testing and gives you the test results. So everything is agent enabled. And then there is DevOps, security, in data and analytics. There is a lot of, so you need a lot of data to do. Data and analytics is what resulted in AI revolution, right? Now AI is also helping data analytics discipline in different ways, right? There is a lot of predictive analytics that happens today. Earlier what we used to do was post facto analysis, right? Once something happens, you do an analysis and then try to predict stuff. Now it is so immediate, so easy. It gives you predictions on a daily basis, on an hourly basis, what is going to happen next, right? I'll give you some examples of that in later slides. So there is algorithmic trading that happens today, right? Trading has become so nuanced. You cannot predict like in old days, right? How you used to predict which stock would go up or which stock would go down, because there are AI agents involved in predicting the behaviors of stocks today. And UI UX, it has become a totally different kind of UI UX. And Gen Z has come into workforce, and things have become totally different today, right? They don't like using the same UI UX that were developed 30 years ago, 40 years ago, which we were used to, right? There is so much that is happening. On the next slide, I will get into even more specifics. Yeah, so this is specifically in infrastructure engineering. Earlier I talked about software development. This is specifically in infrastructure engineering. So within infrastructure, these are the use cases. Then cyber security, these are the use cases. Then IT support. I'm going to show you an agent that we are developing for IT support, right? Um, what we used to do was create tickets assigned to people, and somebody takes ownership for each ticket and fixes it. That's not the case anymore. Now agent picks up the ticket, and based on the past history and the knowledge management articles that are available, the agent fixes tickets, right? It can be a critical ticket, it can be a major ticket, minor ticket. That is happening. Likewise, in network management and cloud operations, FinOps is an example, right? Earlier, the biggest problem with cloud that people see today is you are not in control of the expenses, right? How much is getting charged for your usage. So there are a lot of FinOps companies. There are companies founded on this idea that I will help you with managing your finances better. Cloud finance is better. That is FinOps. Now this whole thing has become a agent's job now. You just buy the agent or develop an agent. The agent will take care of your entire finance management, cloud finance management. Likewise, data management. And yeah, next slide, please. I have a lot of content to cover. That's why I'm rushing through. We will take questions in the end. So then finally coming to SaaS specific use cases, which is what we are working on, right? So we as a company support our customers on ERPs, CRMs, supply chain systems, human capital management systems. So all these SaaS systems, right? Enterprise software systems. Now, the real problem that we find with these SaaS systems are what I said. They are 30 years old, 40 years old. They are last generation UI. The way they function is not for the Gen Z, right? So what we are identifying now is a lot of efficiency problems in these systems. So how we are addressing that is, while the SaaS systems, so the most favorite statement that I heard in recent times is what Satya Nadella, Microsoft CEO made, right? He said all these SaaS systems will be eaten for breakfast by agentic AI or AI agents. And he comes from SaaS industry. He takes his paycheck from SaaS industry. That means he is seeing something that is happening on the ground. So what we do is we have not started eating the entire SaaS systems today, but what we have started doing is we have started eating parts of SaaS systems with agentic AI. Now, UI is one example I gave, right? Because the UI is bad, because the data entry takes hours together, people have started hating the entire SaaS framework, SaaS system product. So what we are doing, one example, what we are doing is we are automating the entire data entry with an agent. Now this agent will do all the data entry for you. Morning, first thing you log into a system, you see that all the data entry is done for you. Now you can focus on your real work. If you are a salesperson, focus on sales. If you are a finance person, focus on finance planning, right? You don't have to do data entry. Data entry is considered a critical part of your job today, but tomorrow that is going to change, right? Data entry, you don't have to worry. You worry about only the core of your job. That is what we are doing. So this is happening in each area. This is happening in ERPs. This is happening in finance planning, finance management, HR management, your sales planning, sales management. In every function, there is some amount of automation that is happening with agentic AI. The traditional automation that happened was different, and what we are doing now is totally different, right? Agentic AI takes the best practices of generative AI, plus it also takes action on behalf of intelligent human beings. That's not the case with the automation earlier. Just the manual jobs were getting automated earlier, whereas these use cases that you see here are more intelligent, right? They take intelligent decisions on behalf of you. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, next one. Yes, now I'm jumping into what specifically we do, right? I talked about across industry what happens, like things like Waymo, things like autonomous vehicles. Then we jumped into what happens within my industry, our industry, in software engineering, infrastructure engineering, and then we talked about in the SaaS industry what happens, right? Which part of SaaS is getting eaten by agents, agentic AI. Now what I'm going to talk about is these are some examples, right? Like us, every company is developing agents. So these are examples from Relanto's experience. So we have developed an agentic AI framework called Smart Assist. So this has around, today I'm going to talk about 7 agents on the next slide, but there are many other agents that are getting added to our portfolio. So what Smart Assist does is we have identified the most, so like I said, the first use case is very important. So what we have done is we have identified in each function in finance, in HR, in sales, in marketing. We have identified the most relevant, most powerful use case which will convince people that AI is real, right? AI is working, AI is going to change their lives. And those use cases, we have applied the best practices of Gen AI and the traditional machine learning NLP concepts and come out with agents. And these, like I said, next slide, please. Like I said, these agents are already in production, right? It means AI has started working already. It's not news anymore. It's not prediction anymore. Yeah. So this is our agentic AI framework. Under Smart Assist, we almost have a dozen agents right now. Some of them are getting ready. These 7 are already in production. So the most favorite one for me in this list is Partner Assist. What Partner Assist does is, if you are aware of RFPs, if you have heard about requests for proposals, what Partner Assist does is, you have, let's say, you are an IT organization, you are the CIO. Now you want to release an RFP to your partners, your vendors, for, let's say, software engineering request. Now you just upload the RFP into this Partner Assist. It will go through your RFP, even if it is 1,000 pages. It will go through your RFP, do an analysis, give you a summary, and say this RFP is for software engineering. And the key expectation from this software engineering RFP are these 3 things. If these are your priorities, these are your vendors to be contacted. So you don't waste your time releasing your RFP to 20 or 30 vendors, right? Many times these procurement organizations and VMO organizations and CIO organizations waste a lot of time releasing these RFPs to companies that are not capable of responding to that, capable of providing those services. This is just one example, right? You give the RFP, it tells you who are the right vendors to be involved. If it is, let's say, if it is a hardware engineering RFP, it will give you hardware engineering companies, let's say Cisco and Nvidia, whatever. Likewise, if it is AI RFP, artificial intelligence RFP, maybe it will say contact Relanto, don't waste your time with others, right? So that is the kind of intelligent agent that is getting built today. Likewise, in Sales Assist, what we do is we integrate with your Salesforce CRM system, integrate with your HR system where your sales quota is recorded. So we integrate with multiple data sources, and we allow you, as a sales guy, let's say I'm a sales guy, I can ask questions. I can ask, hey, what is my quota? Okay, this is your quota. 20 million is your quota. What is my achievement? Middle of the year, June 30th, you have achieved only 8 million. So you have to catch up. You have to do 12 million. I can ask the agent, what can I do to achieve this, fill this gap? Then the agent will tell me, these are the companies you can go after, right? Go after these banks, go after these healthcare companies. This is where opportunities are. This is what you have to do to meet your quota. So that intelligent is how these agents are. Yeah, next slide, please. So when you are building these agents, what we have to take care of is, there are security considerations, there are compliance considerations, there are ethical considerations, right? What we do should not impact human beings negatively, right? AI is for humans, humans are not for AI, right? So we are aware of that, we take care of that. And these are the things that we take care of. There are a lot of details we can discuss about that. If anything interests you, you can ask those questions, we will cover those. And next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, we'll go to the next one. I think it's not refreshing. Okay. Now, so we are talking about what has happened so far and what we are doing right now, right? I talked about real use cases. Now, where this is going, what is the future? There are few interesting things that we predict. Okay. One, like human beings interact with each other, we have started interacting with the agents. Now, eventually, what is going to happen is agents are going to interact with each other. That's what Merlin was talking about. A to A is for that, right? Agent to agent communication is going to be in a large scale in the near future. And the other thing is, there is going to be widespread adoption. So earlier, when IT came, when IT systems came, only IT folks used to be tech savvy, right? The rest of the organization was manual. They didn't understand technology. They didn't have laptops. Now everybody has laptops. Likewise, everybody is going to have AI. Everyone is going to have an AI agent. Everyone is going to be AI savvy. That's what is going to happen in the near future. And the other thing is, these agents are going to heal themselves, right? You don't have to identify a problem in AI agent, report it and fix it. These AI agents will identify their own problems, self-heal it. They will be doctors to themselves. They will fix their problems. You will not even know that this AI agent had this problem. It was identified by the agent itself and it fixed itself, right? And eventually what is going to happen, the last thing is the scariest thing, right? We are going to build emotional intelligence into these agents. Now, please don't think it is impossible. It is possible. It is already happening. Now, these agents have started doing sentiment analysis. You upload an Excel file, you upload a spreadsheet with all the customer feedback, right? These agents are able to tell you when your customer was angry, when your customer was upset, when your customer was happy, when your customer was delighted, right? Sentiment analysis to emotional intelligence is not, it's not too long a journey. It's going to happen anytime soon, right? So that is what is happening. That is what is going to happen. And the last one is the next slide. Some predictions. So 70% organizations are already operationalizing AI in 2025, right? They are going to be autonomous. 25% of the companies are already launching agentic AI pilots this year, and this is going to be 50% in 2027. That is what Deloitte has predicted. And 100% of the business functions are going to be managed and optimized autonomously by AI systems. When, I'm not saying here, but 100% is going to happen. That is for sure. It can be months, it can be years, but that is happening. We have identified a use case for each function, right? So like us, many companies have done that. And infinite number of intuitive interfaces are going to come out. There is no limit. Sky is the limit, right? So that is what is a prediction for the future. And thank you all. Thank you, Alan. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Bharati. Thank you very much to all experts. Time flies. Our 75 minutes are up, so we'll wrap it here. But rest assured, all questions will be addressed in writing afterwards. Thank you so much for joining us and for your patience. Nun kommen wir zum Ende dieses Webinars. Wir bedanken uns für Ihr Interesse und danken auch den Referenten für die spannenden Informationen. Nun wünschen wir Ihnen noch einen schönen Abend. Have a nice day to California und wir sehen uns ein andermal. Vielen Dank. Auf Wiedersehen.